Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of May 26, 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time, and it truly is special. About once every year, what happens? Jupiter changes signs and gears up to move through a brand new part of the sky for the year ahead. And it is as we begin the week that we have such a moment. If you are in the Americas, it is hours before we start this week. So late Saturday as we're entering this week on the 25th. But for most of us out there, this is on the 26th of May. That is when it is going to be Jupiter that moves into the sign of Gemini. This is a very different energy from where it is that Jupiter has been. It has been for the last year that Jupiter's been moving through Earth sign Taurus. This is an energy that is patient, that is plodding, that has an understanding that actions need to align with what it is you're hoping to strengthen and create more of. They have to align with where it is you're hoping for powerful manifestations to take place. In fact, actions should have the intention of and the conscious awareness of what manifestations they're taking us towards. And it is Jupiter having moved through the sign of Taurus that has encouraged us to put in the time, to put in the work, to show ourselves based on our own effort what it is that matters to us and to move towards something that we can feel good about. Now, where Jupiter is going, this is a very different energy. The sign of Gemini has to do with what's happening on levels of mind, on levels of thought. That is where we truly are able to connect with each other on that level of greater equality and greater connection, especially in the energy of Gemini. And Gemini seeks to find its twin. It treats everyone as its sibling, as its brethren. When Jupiter moves into the sign of Gemini, there's a magnification of openness to each other. More of us are talking about what it means to have equal access to education and the development of mind. It is the exchange of ideas that can be very powerful. In fact, it is ideas themselves that not only change the world, but change us. Now, of course, there are other sides, a lower vibration of Jupiter in Gemini, right? Because this is the height of things like propaganda, the height of information that may or may not be rooted in actuality or reality. It's an energy that has to do with saying whatever it is that's right there to say, but not necessarily staying conscious of the fact that as you speak, promises are being made. Now, those promises might be what it is that you hope to manifest more of, but they might also be promises to move in directions that maybe you're not so enthused about. The energy you bring to communication itself is going to be highlighted here, and where it is that we are saying things that actually are very difficult to say, or maybe not very nice to say, but we're saying it nicely, well, we might find some of that contradiction playing out. The air signs in and of themselves do have a strong sense of duality within them. As we start this week, very quickly, we are likely to notice the difference. Life starts to feel less serious. It starts to feel lighter. We don't think it's of huge consequence or some big deal to have a random conversation with the people around us, but we're also encouraged to, as we hear what other people are saying, consider the source, consider other interpretations and what information it is we want to repeat based on what it is we hope to create more of in our own lives. At the same time, in the context of this week, Mercury is active as well. On Tuesday, we get Mercury speaking in harmony with Saturn. And then Friday, we'll meet Uranus in the sky. These key meetings of Uranus have been a big characteristic of the journey through Taurus that planets have been making one after the other. as is the case now. And this is going to give us fresh insight into the journey that we've just walked, what we gained, what grew in our lives, what expanded, what we manifested, and how we feel about it. It gives us an understanding of what meaningful embodiment looks like, but also how to transcend embodiment. Embodiment is being present for your life. It is living in your physical self, knowing that the physical self is being experienced through the lens of spirit, nonetheless, and yet is embodied in a physical body for a reason, that there's wisdom in having a body and being a spiritual being. Those are two sides of an equation that need each other. And Jupiter, while Jupiter moved through Taurus, helped bring healing to this understanding, Mercury now is going to help us to elevate the understanding, to make sense of and acknowledge what was good about this last year, what we gained in a real way. And it helps us to see things in a more grounded way as well, to actually look at the evidence so that we're not getting caught up in our own stories that we might be telling ourselves. That can happen with Mercury. But as we move forward next week, Mercury's going to come home to Gemini, and that Gemini energy is going to magnify even more. But we will start feeling that magnification this week. What does it mean to see yourself in others? Well, it doesn't mean taking other people's opinions about you on as your own. It means that we're willing to learn about ourselves based on our own reactions to others as we move through the world now. This is energy that invites us to elevate our understanding of our lived experience and do that by giving it words. Now, if you think about therapy, why some people really love it, why people engage in it and feel like it benefits their lives, it's because we carry emotion in our body, and that emotion can be very pleasing. It can be very elating, but there are also experiences we have and emotions we have that feel burdensome to our spirit. And in the context of therapy, what happens is that emotions go from the lower chakras and we raise them to the higher chakras. The lower chakras are particularly the base chakra, the first chakra, where we hold our sense of survival. But then as we raise up through the chakras, we get to the second, the sacral chakra, which is about creativity and creation, being more conscious about how energetically we are creating so much of what we experience. And then we raise it even more. We get to the third chakra, and this becomes about self-love, self-esteem, healthy ego, holding oneself, knowing that you can do that for you. We raise the energy more to the fourth chakra. This is the heart. As it sounds, it's about love, whether that's universal love or more personally expressed love. And then we get to the fifth chakra, and it is the fifth chakra that has strong air connotation. It resides in the throat. It has to do with communication. And it's here that we start to make sense of whatever it is that we felt and our journey through the chakras so far. And so, yes, we may feel things very strongly. We might love very deeply, but it's when we give voice to it that we're able to then discern whether or not whatever has wounded us, whatever emotions we've been carrying, what the wisdom is in them. But also by speaking it, the throat chakra is also the center of change. It's the center of where things or energies transform and become something else, become something better simply by it being elevated. And then it is the higher chakras that bring in an element of universal wisdom, with the third eye chakra representing intuition and the crown chakra bringing in that universal connection and wisdom. Consider this as well. It is the throat chakra that encourages us to speak our truth but also to have conversations that can be difficult. Air energy in general is an energy that doesn't like conflict and finds it really hard to speak up about those things that have felt challenging and to work through conflict. But rather, air energy, its first impulse is to seek avoiding conflict. And people who have very strong air signatures in their chart, I mean, all else being equal, if they've got, some other energies playing out supporting it, it can turn. But I have found that strong air energies, it tends to be really hard to have difficult conversations. And in fact, they'll take steps to avoid them. That's their way of being. But then moments arise when we must have that conversation, if only in the privacy of the safe space, like therapeutic environments, for example. But speaking up for oneself, right? The chakra, the throat chakra, representing that difficult conversations, speaking up for yourself from a place of heart, but also connected to self respect, self value, healthy ego. That's where we are by the time we get to the throat chakra. That is a skill that is very hard to cultivate for some people. The thyroid gland resides in the throat, and the thyroid gland is just this little piece of ourselves, but it is responsible for so much of our hormonal balance, of our sense of well-being, for a sense of happiness even as well. It is here in the thyroid gland that so much is regulated so that we stay in balance in whatever way you want to understand that hormonally. And yeah, I would even say if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, it is the gland that allows that smooth communication of energy, the smooth movement of energy through the chakras themselves. And so it's no wonder that 80% of women are going to have some thyroid malfunctions to take place over the course of their lifetime. In fact, especially as women get older, it becomes that much more a challenge to keep the thyroid in a healthy place. And I think that this is a reflection of especially how up until now, and how, especially in certain cultures up until now, it is not ladylike to be heard, to speak up, to say it, to be considered confrontational simply because you know that you have to say something because the way that things are isn't working. It is here in the throat that transformations can occur, but sometimes that transformation is, yes, our understanding, but it might just also be the healing power that comes from speaking our truth, the act of speaking itself. That is so hard for some people. And I think Jupiter in Gemini is going to help to bring healing to all of that. I think that this week, with Mercury meeting Uranus in Taurus, again, that embodied energy, I think a lot of us might find this combination of astrological symbols playing out right now helps us to find our voice and what that uniquely is going to be for us. It's going to help us to find a sense of presence within so that we feel solid, which means we feel safe. And that means knowing that whom we're going to speak to, what we're going to say is coming from that place of feeling safe within. But it is now that we are likely to cultivate the knowing, cultivate the skill of speaking what it is we need to as a way to bring positive healing energy in. And it is healing to be able to have the conversation or to say the thing, regardless of how someone else might react to it. In 12-step programs, there comes a point in them where We have to make a list of all the people that we have resentments against. And then you kind of look at your part in it and you take ownership and you identify where it is perhaps that you did wrong. And then you set out to make peace with it, to correct it. And sometimes that does mean going to people. It means apologizing to people. And sometimes that means the people that you're going to, that you're apologizing to, they may or may not react well to that. Sometimes they really don't. Sometimes it's so much easier not to say anything. But that ultimately is coming from a place of fear. But why do people in 12-step programs do it when they're trying to heal from things like serious addictions? Well, they do it because that's what is required to make the spirit itself lighter so that you can move into your future. You're not carrying the burdens, the regrets, the shame of the past. You're not stewing in all the things that you did wrong and you're kind of afraid to look at them. So instead, you're looking at and stewing in all the things that other people did wrong. But we go forward. We're able to move into the future lighter, knowing that we set right whatever we could, whatever was loving and right for us, so that we could ultimately feel free. I think that all of us in our own way are seeking a feeling of freedom, a feeling of lightness. And each of us defines freedom in different ways. What freedom feels like means different things to different people. But we can say that often freedom comes through being willing to say the thing that's hard to say. If only we say it for ourselves. And so going to this idea that freedom means different things to different people, Uranus is highlighted this week, the planet of freedom. Jupiter's moving into air sign Gemini. Again, we have this highlight of freedom. And I like to think of this quite a bit. I'm a very Uranian Aquarius person. For me, freedom is airports. Freedom is travel. If you've watched me for a while, you know this is probably not going to surprise you at all. Whatever freedom is, I feel it when I travel. I love that. But for someone like my dad, for my dad, freedom is knowing that he can and he did provide for his family, knowing that he's going to be okay, especially knowing that he's got that security in place. That's what feels like freedom to him. Very different definitions of freedom right there. And then think about all those other ways that people define freedom. Some people think freedom is not having kids. For some, it is having kids that is their freedom, that ends up inspiring them to move towards better. For some people, freedom is being able to drive. For others, driving is a nightmare. Like me, I hate to drive. I do not drive cars. I'm more scared in cars than I am in airplanes. Airplanes are my happy place. Freedom means different things to different people, but whatever it means to you, with a week like this, you just might learn to understand it a little bit more, to articulate it a little bit more. And when I consider that so many spiritual traditions, spiritual programs are oriented around an understanding that if you take a certain route to align with the divine as they conceptualize it, as they understand it, well, you just might find the freedom that you seek. And what is freedom but lightness of being as you move through your life and you move through the world? What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. Jupiter is moving into the sign of Gemini. This is a very big deal. This is a beautiful deal. This is blessings shifting for us now. Moving to a place where we're building on the more grounded understandings of the past, and now we're learning the healing power of voice, of mind, of ideas, of connecting with others as equals. Pedestals are a lovely thing. It's all well and good, but can you really talk to this person? Because if you can't, it's very hard to have any kind of connection to them in the real world. And it is now that at the very least, we're willing to have those conversations. We're willing to approach life from the place where we aren't engaging the world from a place of awareness of different class structures and who's up and who's down or whatever, which can be something and an approach that people take with strong Taurian vibes, but rather now we're going to another level. If on the level of mind we are equal, well, it is on the level of mind that we might find ourselves communicating with all kinds of people now. And seeing ourselves in them means that we feel the freedom of being less alone as we move through the world. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week, including Jupiter special horoscopes, expanded horoscopes. Oh my God, I worked so hard on these horoscopes. It took days to get them done because each video is like around 30 to 40 minutes. Some are just a little less, some are a little more than that. But I really do delve very deeply in an understanding of Jupiter moving through the sign of Gemini and what that means for the different signs. And so, yes, you'll get an expanded look at that in the Superstar space. That video is also going to be available, those videos rather, for instant download at nadiyashah.com. And like I said, there is going to be a shorter version publishing right around the time that this video publishes as well. So be on the lookout for that to understand Jupiter moving into the sign of Gemini and what that means for you in your sign. Join me in the Superstar space at nadiyashahsuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. A huge, massive, massive thank you to everybody who got their advanced copy of this book, my next book of Ravens and Dragonflies, looking at outer planet transits through the houses in astrology. The advanced copies, I think as I'm recording this, which is just before the week ends, there are like maybe 20 copies left. So I don't even know if sales will still be up on the site by the time this video publishes. But having said that, thank you. Like, just thank you for your love and support of my work, your enthusiasm for my work. It means so much. Any book I write, it's like pouring my heart out onto paper. And it really is an endeavor of love, of a desire to share something, for you to hold something that can help you at different points in your life. And especially with outer planet transits, they can be really challenging. And so we dive very deep into having an understanding of what they mean as they move through the houses of the natal chart. So those who got it, I hope you absolutely love it. Those who want the advanced copy signed by me with free gifts, including 2 pendants, the Universe is Wise and Loving and the Sun Tarot card pendant. It's possible by the time you're watching this that there are just a couple left and that you can get them at synchronicitypublications.com. Not likely, but it might be there. And if you got it, I love you. Thank you so much. I have got 2 incredible classes coming up, and it is going to be this week that we're going to be announcing so many amazing classes at Synchronicity University. We always have an early bird special that happens if you sign up before the end of this month. So that gives you about a week from the time we start this month. You get an additional $5 off 2 or more programs. Already programs are as low as just $5 a class. So that really ends up being a very accessible deal for a lot of people. And we've got big announcements coming up this week that I'm looking forward to. But so far, and as far as Synchronicity University goes, my upcoming class is called Money, Power, Respect. And this is looking at prosperity and success, how you define it, how you can align with it by looking at transits and aspects within the natal chart as well. So this is going to be a thorough 5-part course. You can go read the description of all the classes. We're looking at the 2nd house, the 8th house, the 5th, the 11th, We're looking at the 10th house and the 6th house. So there's a lot of ground to cover. You'll learn a lot, but there's that much more possibility of working with your chart. Why is astrology a tool of empowerment? Because it can help you to recognize what it is that you're experiencing, who it is that you are from a symbolic perspective. And that's what I hope to do, to help facilitate greater prosperity in everyone out there, and especially help you to understand as part of this course what prosperity uniquely is for you and how you can align with it. You can learn a lot more about my upcoming class at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. My upcoming class at Kepler College will run congruently with my Synchronicity University class. And this is different. It's with Kepler College. It has nothing to do with Synchronicity University. I love being on their faculty. They're one of the most prestigious astrology institutions in the world. And it is at Kepler College that once a year, every summer, I teach a business course. There's only a little bit of the first class that's actually about astrology. The rest is about spiritual entrepreneurship, understanding the practicalities of creating a successful entrepreneurial endeavor. And that includes utilizing social media and the different ways to do that as well. And so you really get to see behind the scenes of what I do professionally with my work. And the big thing about this class is the mentorship aspect. You get as much as you want to get out of it. And if you want like a lot of feedback from me and that constant connection, you can have that. There's dedicated message boards, there are homework assignments. I go through each of them. I give you personal feedback as we go along. Or if you want, you don't have to engage the class that much. Some people choose to do that. And that means you may not want to do the homework assignments. It doesn't matter. I am the easiest grader you're ever going to know. If you show up, you get 100%. If you don't show up either, really, any assignment you give, I give a perfect score. That is true, yes. And that's because I'm a really easy grader. That's because you have your own journey. And I'm not here to judge that journey. I'm here to help you to make the best of it, to magnify your understanding of self, to magnify the potential that is there that you want to embrace that much more at this point in your life. A lot of people have said that course served as this catalyst moment towards businesses. And I am so, so proud of my students who've gone on to have successful spiritual entrepreneur businesses of their own in astrology and in other ways as well. Whatever your professional endeavor, you are welcome at this course. Spots are very limited. This course always sells out, always. And when it sells out, that's it. Because the mentorship part of it is such a big deal, I can't take on too many students. So the class size stays very limited. And up until I don't know when, but they do have an early bird thing happening there as well. They have installment payments as well. All of that is handled directly through Kepler College, who sets the rate and all of that stuff. So if this sounds like something you might want to engage in, that you might want to look into, please do. The link is in the description below, the direct link to sign up through Kepler College. And of course, I already spoke about my class at Synchronicity University. I created them to kind of work really well together, knowing that a lot more people are going to be able to access the Synchronicity University class than are going to be able to access the Kepler class. Regardless, though, you would be very welcome at either or just one or both. It's all good. And also, yes, join me at Kepler. That would be so wonderful. I get so much out of teaching the practicalities. I've been a full-time astrologer for almost since 2006. So it's almost 18 years now. And I've learned a lot and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I still continue to like experiment and figure out my way forward. And you're going to see all of that, the things I learned so that you can feel that much more ahead as you incorporate an understanding of self and spirit into your business. So again, my class at Kepler College, links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm so very grateful for it. Next week, this time, I will be in Brazil. Knock on wood. I am planning to leave for Brazil Monday night, and I'm going to load my dad's car up with books that have to be shipped out Monday afternoon. And so the shipping is going to take place next week for the advanced copies of Ravens and Dragonflies. Now, I should have mentioned, and I'm really going to talk about this a lot more next week, you can pre-order your copy of Ravens and Dragonflies directly on Amazon. And when you do that, you are able to then share that receipt number with us, my team, and you will be on the list to get a course package on outer planet transits as well, which goes through not just the houses, but also goes through different planetary aspects in that course. So that is outside the preview of the book. But yeah, you do get this free gift of a full 5-part course, as long as you make us aware that you have pre-ordered this book. And pre-ordering the book really does help so much. It helps to create awareness around the work, and I really do appreciate that. It means that more people are going to know about this book. And I think that this book can actually really help a lot of people. So please do check that out. Check out the links below. It is the pre-order that is on now on Amazon worldwide at this moment. And once that book is given to the world on June 11, that's it. It belongs to the world. It's no longer mine. And I give it, and it's going to be a lot of fun though, and it's always very rewarding. So right now I've been holding it close. Only advanced copies and pre-orders are happening. So yes, please do check that out. And thank you so, so much. I'm so, so grateful for you. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.